Welcome to another startup and complete car documentation. What we're looking at today is a 2019 Jeep Wrangler Sport S. This Wrangler is painted in bright white with a black Freedom Top modular hardtop roof. On the key, you have the buttons for lock, unlock, and panic. Storage nets. You have power windows, locks, and mirrors. Power windows are in there. Standard with these sport trims are cloth seats, and this one features the black interior color scheme. Front seats are manually adjusted. And now that we're behind the wheel, let's go ahead and start the engine. Now, although it has a traditional key blade, it actually has push-button ignition. If you're looking for the most off-road capable vehicle you can buy right out the gate with no aftermarket modifications, then look no further than the legendary Jeep Wrangler. The Wrangler's original ancestor was the Willys MB, which began mass production in 1941 as a simple, reliable, and durable workhorse designed for the US military. The Willys MB, nicknamed the Jeep, became so popular that for 1945, a version for the general public began production, known as the CJ, or Civilian Jeep. It would end up lasting numerous generations until 1986, being built by a number of different manufacturers over the years, from Willys to AMC. Soon after, the CJ's replacement was introduced for 1987 and was called the Jeep Wrangler. This was also when the Jeep marquee was bought by Chrysler. Unlike many SUVs nowadays, the Wrangler features tried-and-true body-on-frame construction, a solid front and rear axle setup, and excellent ground clearance, along with short front and rear overhangs, making it pretty much the most capable factory off-roader you can buy today. From rock crawling to mudding, the Wrangler can go just about anywhere, even in its stock form. It also has trademark removable doors and a removable roof, both as a soft top or a hard top. The windshield can also be folded down, a feature that's been around since the days of the original Willys MB military Jeeps. Nowadays, while the Wrangler is of course much more modern, redesigns are very subtle cosmetically, and thus it still retains the same basic iconic look that it's always had. As of the 2023 model year, the Wrangler is currently in its 4th generation. This 2019 model we have here represents the Wrangler's 4th and current generation, codenamed JL, which made its debut for the 2018 model year. Like the outgoing JK Wrangler, the JL generation is offered as both a short wheelbase 2-door model and a long wheelbase 4-door model known as the Wrangler Unlimited. In addition, 2020 marked the introduction of the Jeep Gladiator, which is a crew cab pickup truck based on the JL Wrangler. A couple years after its introduction, a plug-in hybrid version of the JL Wrangler was also introduced, not to mention the availability of a big Hemi V8 as well. Main trim levels for the US market 2019 model year Wrangler include Sport, Sport S, Rubicon, Moab, and the range-topping Sahara, depending on if it's a 2-door or an Unlimited. For 2019, 2 engines were offered. First was the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6 with an ample 285 horsepower. The other option is a 2-liter Turbo 4 paired with a mild hybrid system. While the 4-cylinder is slightly down on power from the V6, at a still potent 270 horses to be exact, it does offer more torque and improved efficiency over the standard V6. Depending on the trim, 2 transmissions are offered, those being a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed auto. The manual is offered only with the V6. 4-wheel drive of some sort is standard, although Jeep offered 3 different systems: Command-Trac, Rock-Trac offered on Rubicons, and Select-Trac, which is a full-time system offered on Saharas. In the instrument cluster, you have 4 analog gauges, which are your tachometer, speedometer, fuel gauge, and temperature gauge. And then in the center is a digital information display, which can be gone through via these buttons on the steering wheel. It has a 4-spoke design, leather-wrapped, and multifunctional steering wheel. As for controls, first the front of the spokes. On this side you have your Bluetooth, voice control, as well as information display controls. And on this side you have your cruise control. And then on the back of the spokes you have your audio controls, seat track, and volume. The steering wheel is tilt and telescopic. Headlight controls, fog lights, panel dim, climate vent for the driver, grab handle in the A-pillar. Right here you have your high beam and turn signal stock. Then on this side you have your micro stock. Going down the center of the interior, you have a little bit of a storage tray up top, your central climate vents, your whole radio interface with a touchscreen. We'll go over that more in a bit. You have a set of single zone climate controls, hazards, your hill descent control, auto start stop toggle, and traction control toggle. Right here are your power window controls. You have a 12-volt power outlet, and then behind this cover is an aux port, a USB-A, and a USB-C port. Storage, 4-wheel drive control lever. You have 2 high, 4 high, neutral, and 4 low. Putting it in reverse does reveal a backup camera with stationary guidance lines. You have 2 cup holders. The parking brake is hand operated. A little bit of storage below that. Got a 2-tiered center console with a USB port in there. The glove box is lockable. Both sun visors do have vanity mirrors and lights. Manually dimming rear view. And then you have some various levers to remove the Wrangler's trademark removable roof panels. And then here is the radio interface. Pretty simple, or actually very simple to get used to. It's not very substantial. You have AM and FM. Your audio settings. Tuning, info, media. For anything you might have hooked up, you can pair a phone. Bring up a compass. All sorts of your settings. And then more. You can bring up your rear camera without going in reverse. Change the clock. Yeah, pretty simple system. But anyhow, let's go ahead and roll down the driver's window and take a look at the engine bay. Both windows are automatic down. It has 17-inch aftermarket rims from Fuel Off-Road. And in traditional Wrangler fashion, as it's been for many years, you have to undo these external latches to pop the hood. Powering this Wrangler is the model's base engine for 2019, which is Chrysler's Pentastar 3.6-liter naturally aspirated V6. It's an all-aluminum engine with dual overhead camshafts, 4 valves per cylinder, and variable valve timing. Horsepower is rated at 285 at 6,400 RPM, with torque being rated at 260 pound-feet at 4,800 RPM. Standard on sport trims is the Command-Trac part-time 4-wheel drive system, and this Wrangler's transmission is the optional 8-speed automatic with a manual shifting mode. Running on regular unleaded with an 18.5-gallon fuel tank, EPA estimates for a Wrangler equipped like this one are 18 mpg in the city and 23 mpg on the highway. The suspension, of course, utilizes solid axles front and rear, and stopping the Wrangler are 4-wheel disc brakes with the front ones being ventilated. Curb weight for this Wrangler is roughly 4,000 pounds. Maximum towing capacity is 3,500 pounds. There are mat pockets on the back of the front seats. Rear passengers do get central climate vents and 2 cup holders. Speakers and overhead lighting built into the roll bar structure. And space back here as someone who's about 6'1". It's not really the greatest, but part of it has to do with the headrest being kind of protruding downward. If you flip them up, it's not going to be quite as bad. Headroom is actually decent. I mean, this is way lower, but once you get to this part, not too bad in terms of headroom. Once you're, having off-roading fun with the top off and the doors off, going down some trail, you're not really going to be thinking about, oh, I'm not very comfortable. You're going to be having a blast, so. As you saw earlier, the fuel cap is on the driver's side. Has a single exhaust and a rear wiper. Classic back-mounted spare tire or spare wheel. Backup camera is protruding through said spare wheel. Two-door short-wheelbase Wranglers offer 12.9 cubic feet of cargo space with the rear seats up. Fold the rear seats down and you now get 46.9 cubic feet. Anyhow, thanks for checking out this tour of this 2019 Jeep Wrangler. And as always, stay on the lookout for future tours.